True, true. The problem here, the animal law in Nepal is they just thinking about certain animals, like who actually is used for farming, or like a transportation, or like backpacking, or uh, traction work kind of things, you know. So when you talk about the animal cruelty or anything else like welfare, the drafter of the laws so far just have thought about, perhaps thought about these animals, not others, like for example other animals like who is not concerned directly to the people's daily life. Okay, like for example stray dogs or like stray animals. Okay,
Hmm.
so they are not much thinking about the cruelty against these animals, also the welfare of these animals. They are just thinking about those that come in use for human, you know, actually work.
Right.
Hmm.
So these laws, like in the penal code or the different acts that, like the Aquatic Animal Protection Act,
Hmm.
do those require implementing regulations or some sort of regulations to actually make them enforceable? Because there are many
No, no,
laws.
no. Laws are itself enforceable in Nepal. You don't need to go through the other procedure, other regulations or other directives to, you know, make these laws enforceable. But
Okay.
the regulation and directives are just to facilitate the implementation of the mother law. Like if you have a certain provision in a particular act, and then if you don't have, because you cannot put everything like procedural things in the act. So using that, and then the act will empower the government to come up with a regulation to implement that particular act and particular provision and in line with that provision.
Since in the penal code, it says that it's prohibited to set an animal free. The like that's abandoning an animal, and it talks about a bird, any animal or bird. I think that's very important because
Yeah,
so many people are
right.
abandoning animals on the street, the cows and the dogs, and yet it doesn't get enforced. So what causes a law to actually be enforced?
Actually, this is it. It is more a question related to a procedure. Like when it goes like this: when someone actually let free their animal, or you know, birds, etc., etc., livestock anyway, their personal private livestock, and then it will do some harm to other people, for example, and then the other people will go to the police and then file a FIR, false information report, and then police will actually investigate whether they are doing these things or not. And if the police thought that someone is actually committed this, you know, wrong, then police will file the case in the court of law. So, and then court will strike the punishment, or you know, set free, declare innocence of the accused. So
So
this is
what
especially
what
through the police, especially from the police. Police
so
is
what is
very important.
do
You know, having a law and to actually have a implemented is different thing in Nepal. You see, as you rightly mentioned, if there is a two cases, one is related to human person who met accident or you know caused accident, and then there is another another application for investigation on animal, related to animal. Obviously, they will ignore animal because it's not because the law is should be treated differently, or the point is actually it is more cultural patterns, like a mindset you have, like since people are dying, then why you care about animal kind of things. But
Mhm.
obviously this is the wrong things, and wrong things, but this is reality here, you know. So
Report? I've heard so many stories of people trying to file police reports and them, not even taking a report or, taking it seriously.
Yes, and it's taken for granted that actually people normally, I don't think people actually bother going to police all the way and then filing the FIR for the animal because someone has actually let their animal go out. So this is the, and then so far my knowledge, in my knowledge so far, I don't have any information anyone has punished or police has investigated on this issue.
I think
So
most people don't even know that it's against the law. I mean, it,
no, and then it's, as I said, it's taken for granted. It's not a serious thing. If you like, even if you kill a dog in the street, maybe it's not serious things. Maybe someone will say, "Oh, this poor dog. Actually, these cruel people." Some that's finished. Nobody bothered actually going to the police, and this person actually did a cruel thing again, cruel behavior or treatment. Do you mean government has actually found a committee to investigate such things?
yes.
I haven't heard about that. Maybe
Y-
Bongsi now. I haven't
Yeah.
heard about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And then I actually normally in Nepali society, but now it's becoming different. Now thinking is a way of thinking becoming more liberal and more animal also protective to animal. But uh, if dog bites some person, then it's normal thinking is that that dog deserve beating and then kill to be killed. So this is the normal traditional thinking because the dog has done such a wrong thing.
tell me what some of your main goals are and your main interests. I know you brought in the environmental issues, and those are very important. But just, if you wanted to explain to somebody what your thinking is and your main interest is in creating this organization, how would you explain it to people?
Actually, for me, I want changes in the mindset of people and then also government policy makers. So uh, uh, having a law, good law is important. We don't have a good laws. First things, we should have a good law and policy. And then second thing is to implement good law and policies, you should have in one part law enforcement, sincere law enforcement agencies, government agencies, and other part the well-aware people, sincere people about the particular issue. So why I brought this, all I wanted to take a more holistic approach to the nature, because as you always said, animal, human, and then environment is interlinked, So like if you talk about protection or welfare of animal, it should not be the just animal of the you are directly benefited from, like domestic animals, livestock, but also those animals who directly and inherently linked to the ecology, like a wildlife. And then if you talk about the wildlife, you must have shelter sanctuary for them, like a properly maintained forest, and then clean water. You should not pollute waters. You should not clean up the forest. And then also and also you should like all type of animals should be there, like for if you properly maintain the forest jungles, then there will be animals who eat grass, or like what you say, it's a herbivorous animals,
Herbivores, yeah. Yep.
herbivorous animals, and then eating that herbivorous animal, the other wildlife will survive. So all it goes to kind of a natural cycle. So if you coexist all these things, then obviously who will be benefited most is the human people who are living in the society in compact form, because but they cannot escape from the nature. So that's why I wanted to, take a more holistic approach than a single issue, taking a single issue. Even if you just take a single issue, maybe you will doing something, but it will be already affected by the other issues, like other related issues. Like if you talk about the domestic animals only, but it will be directly linked to the also wildlife and then ecology, like environment. Okay, so that's why if you don't have a clean and better environment to survive all these animals, and then a human person cannot survive. In this, there is two parts in this. One is in Constitution, one is a fundamental right chapter. That's the clean environment is a fundamental right of Nepali people. So government of Nepal or state of Nepal is bound to enforce this, to implement this. If you don't implement this, then you can take recourse to the court of law, Supreme Court of Nepal. You can go there, the government is not doing anything. Okay, so this is fundamental right part of the Constitution. That is the important, very important. The Article 30 is very important.
Does anybody do that? Does anybody
Yeah,
do
yeah, yeah.
that?
I can do that. So this is very important. And but you have to show that government is doing nothing. But because this is the constitutional provision, that's why government have to introduce law and policies to implement this constitutional provision. Government is actually bound to do this. Like they have to come up with certain policies, programs, budgets, and then before that, law to implement this constitutional provision, like how to make a environment clean and healthy. Okay, that is important. If you are convinced yourself that the government is doing nothing, then you have to go to the court of law, and then court will actually order the government, to do this in this period. This is
Has
very important.
anybody challenged the environmental, this provision in the Constitution?
No, because government come up with I think governments is doing something for the environment. They have a lot of, if there is a no in the field, but at least in policy level and law in the legislation parliamentary level, like they have a environmental law, and then also other nature and conservation and protection of protection of wildlife and conservation act, etc., etc. So that's why if the government is doing something, state is doing something, and then court will not entertain the the litigation petitions. But this is only a small part of a very big problem in Nepal. Many problems. So people have a very least, thinking about this. Like you can see, because you are totally focused and you are from different world. That's why you can easily see this. And what is this? And then it's a totally, like actually wild scenario you can see. But here, even more vital things are so many unsettled and so many problems facing by the public.
So what are the key priorities that people have that they really pay attention to?
You see, like there is a issue of corruption, issue of rape, issue of killing, issue of kidnapping, issue of road traffic accident, and every single day dozens of people are killed, in the bus mishap, and then also, small accidents. Every single day you can see the scenario of, traffic accident, motorcycle accident, and someone is killed, and it's not a news for Nepali people anymore. What you are saying is true. This is the, the many problems here, like what you just mentioned. Actually, people killed by himself, like a daily suicide, and then
Yeah.
also killing each other, and then assaulting each other, and then also like someone will immolate themselves.
Right,
It,
right. That
in daily
happened.
basis.
That happened a
Yeah.
few months ago.
Yes, and then no, not few months ago. Even day before yesterday, I heard that news, and even but many news doesn't come in forefront. Only there are some high-profile cases comes, and we know those. But actually, in fact, the situation of public in general is very rash and difficult. Hmm.
Oh,
My idea is actually I agree what you are saying, and then that's very important. Uh, but two things I want to mention here is one, if you are not going to contextualize the issue to someone, to something, the audience or the students will not give attention to this. Like for example, they have a compulsion to do a research on this. Okay. Second point is like if you compel them to do some these things through development of curriculum, and they are also in compulsion to read the animal law, and then student will utilize this the resources what you are saying. Otherwise, I think they will hardly pay any attention because their priority is different. Okay. So we have to contextualize it either by developing curriculum and then introducing it in a law school, or making a subject matter of importance to do a research like a dissertation or thesis or etc. etc. I think it's important for me, like we can make a change through this intervention. Like one, it's if we intervene in making a good law and policies, good law and then good legislations and regulations and policies. That is very vital, very important. And then I'm not interested to see if there is any law or not. But what is important is whether the law is really, reflecting the need of the society and the need of the situation. Okay, that is important. That's why if animal welfare law comes, it should be really good law covering. We're having a wider coverage to all animals, not just a few animals. Okay, so this is important. If not, there is no meaning of accepting this particular law. We can even challenge the law, in the Supreme Court if they don't come up with a good law. Just they come up with the law for the sake of law. That doesn't have any meaning. Okay, so good law is important. Well, other part, society in the in the real life of people, you have to make an intervention, like making awareness. We could do it. Actually, we are already discussing about this, like in municipal level. If we make people aware and sincere and respectful toward the animals, that is very important. They are the people who will actually abide by the law, follow the law. If you are enforcing law harshly through police, but people are not accepting because they think it is affecting their, negatively affecting their life, then they will not follow the law. So this is what happening in Nepal, especially the like killing law against killing cow and ox, or etc. etc.